In tonight's headlines, Belize launches its plastic-free campaign, BMDC is assisting onion farmers, and Nemo is already gearing up for the hurricane season. These stories and more on this week's edition of Belize Now. Thanks for joining us on this Friday, March 22nd, 2019. I am Erin Guzman. The Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, BMDC, is a statutory body under the Ministry of Agriculture. Its mandate is to assist in building Belize's economic development by ensuring food security, enhancing product development, providing marketing services for small agribusinesses, and to operate in an environmentally friendly, sustainable, and viable manner. Earlier this week, we joined the BMDC in northern Belize for a field visit with onion producers. Here's more.
It is estimated that yearly per capita onion consumption per person in Belize is 10 pounds, and on average, imports total 1.5 million pounds of onion for the year. With onion forming such a huge part of our diets, it's no surprise that the Belize Marketing and Development Corporation, BMDC, a statutory body under the Ministry of Agriculture, is doing its part to help develop the industry in Belize. On Wednesday, we joined the BMDC team, representatives of the Ministry of Agriculture, wholesalers, and farmers as they gathered in the Mennonite community of Little Belize in the Corozal district. Silveria Marin, administrator at BMDC, told us about the gathering.
We brought them here to Little Belize for them to do two things. To look at the innovations that we have now in marketing, and to create dialogue between the different stakeholders. We have been working with the onion producers for some years now, and we have now gotten them to organize in a better structure. And the purpose of this is for us to be able to create an industry. And we have been tediously working with them over the years. And these kinds of activities is something that we've started to do to create the kind of dialogue and discussion that needs to happen for there to be an integrated industry in the country.
As a part of its strategy, the BMDC has helped to establish a Contact Farmers Committee with representatives of each of the onion-producing communities. The committee is tasked with planning and guiding the development of the industry, bringing to table interests of the producers, and noting challenges they encounter. Marin highlighted some of those challenges.
Well, there are several issues affecting the industry at the moment. There is, if you look at the entire value chain, there is the case with the inputs, that inputs are sometimes very expensive, but because of not being well organized, then it's very difficult for them to access financing and access the actual inputs that they need, and even equipment. If you look at the production aspect, there is also the climatic conditions that sometimes present challenges to them, but they are not resilient enough because they lack organization. If you look at the aspect of marketing, because they're not well organized, the buyers come in and play around with the prices, and then the farmer ends up getting the least amount of benefit from their production.
In June 2017, as a part of the marketing interventions, the onion stakeholders met and agreed on size grading standards for onions. The BMDC is now assisting in providing farmers with appropriate technologies to facilitate the sorting of onions by size. Marin says that though there are some farmers who are still reluctant, the BMDC is pleased with and has seen the benefits of its intervention.
Last year, we also managed to work on an aspect of the standards, whereby we have done some standard selection, and we are now going to be grading by size. And the farmers here knew of it, have been involved in this selection process, and now they are seeing the fruits of their labor and our work with them. We have the farmers who are really interested, who want to implement innovation in their production, but there are those who are a bit reluctant, and for good reason. They've had bad experiences in the past. But we are still moving forward, and the farmers who are enthusiastic about it are showing the others now what are the benefits of being organized, what are the benefits of implementing innovative techniques into their production.
Gareth Murillo, registrar at the cooperative department in the ministry, says that with BMDC's intervention, farmers can now focus more on farming.
Well, over the last several years, we have seen the successes on the increase. The farmers now has somebody or has some organization, some entity that does the marketing for them. That alleviates them of that particular activity, and it enables them to concentrate mainly on what it is they do best, and that is farming.
And the ministry will continue in its efforts to bring further improvement to the onion industry and others.
The idea is to better organize the farmers, particularly into cluster groups. At this point in time, we have a cooperative officer who is participating in a cluster formation and development workshop. He should complete that training in June. Hopefully then we can come back and we can have a more academic intervention with the farmers in terms of letting them understand the way forward in terms of organizing into a cluster.
One onion producer spoke to us about the improvements and innovation he's seen in the industry.
Muy barato y es que mucho contrabando, por eso se bajó mucho el precio y ahora como que en los dos lados creo que está un poco más caro, pues ahora está mucho mejor el precio. Y yo estoy bien alegre de la máquina porque la máquina me gusta cómo funciona, cómo trabaja, cómo saca los tamaños. Así veo yo porque los compradores cuando llegan aquí dicen que así lo queremos ya ratos, que ustedes pongan los tamaños así, no todo revuelto en un saco.
BMDC's work with the onion industry highlights only a small part of its mission. Marin told us more.
At the moment, BMDC is doing two things primarily. One, we are assisting the agro processors in marketing their product. So we take the products from the processors and we bring them to the markets. We do business with the supermarkets, with the hotels and the different institutions to give the market space and to showcase what Belize is actually producing. And the other aspect, like what we're doing here today, we are facilitating in the development of industries, small industries. And we are involved in the development of the value chains and creating an understanding of the whole value chain for all stakeholders. And that is helping them to organize better and to move the industry forward.
For Belize Now, I am Janelle Mencias.
On Wednesday, March 21st, the government of Belize officially launched the Plastics Free Belize education campaign with the logo Choose to Refuse Single Use. This year-long campaign is intended to educate, provide guidance, and sensitize the public on Belize's transition process to the phase-out of single-use plastic shopping bags and styrofoam and plastic food utensils. Dr. Honorable Omar Figueroa, Minister in the Department of Environment and Sustainable Development, mentioned the significance of the campaign in his remarks.
This Plastics Free Belize campaign is needed to educate on why phasing out single-use plastic is important to each and every one of us, why it is important for the future of your children, why it is important for the protection of your health and the health of our Belizean environment, and what is your role in transitioning Belize to greener products.
Another aim of the campaign is to communicate to the public that the success of the initiative to phase out single-use plastics depends on active participation, contribution, and support. We spoke to some Belizeans to find out how they feel about the upcoming change.
I think it's a much-needed initiative for Belize in terms of our environment. You know, there's a lot of challenges that we face as a country, and this is one of them.
I'm really excited about the change. It actually says a lot to us about our country trying to make the biggest change of all.
When I see Belizeans coming together and working towards a common purpose, that gets me really excited because it doesn't happen very often. And I think this is one of the opportunities where we get to do that. And I am thrilled to see everyone coming together and saying this is something that needs to happen. And by working together, it can happen. And I think that has amazing potential for making Belize healthier and cleaner.
The B2B advocates not only advocate when it comes to something as great as this initiative, but we we are 110% living it. We're walking the walk, we're not only talking the talk, we're walking the walk as well. And I'm hoping that all the organizations and Belizeans in general would actually take this initiative as well and walk with it and be a part of this great thing.
The government of Belize decided to begin the phase-out of single-use plastic shopping bags and styrofoam and plastic food utensils in March 2018. The phase-out will be implemented on April 22nd of this year. We'll have more stories after the break. Stay with us.
Voter registration continues countrywide at the Elections and Boundaries offices. Register today to vote in the ICJ referendum on the 10th of April 2019. For registration information and locations, visit www.elections.gov.bz.
True or false? Belize has a great chance of winning at the ICJ. True. We have the 1859 Treaty, the 1931 Exchange of Notes, and the fact that we gained independence in 1981 after over 150 years of owning from the Rio Hondo to the Sarstoon. Guatemala never occupied any of Belize. All of these things are 100% in our favor, and the ICJ will consider these when making their decision.
Be informed. Visit our website and social media pages.
The Atlantic Basin hurricane season is approaching, and the National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, is already in full force preparing for the possibilities of hurricanes and flooding. A part of their preparation is conducting training in different safety skills to community disaster response teams. In February this year, NEMO, along with Belize Red Cross, conducted a search and rescue training. Here's more on what we found out.
Teamwork, guys, teamwork.
The National Emergency Management Organization, NEMO, collaborated with the Belize Red Cross and the Belize Institute of Search and Rescue Training to provide advanced search and rescue training to 10 residents from the Belize rural area. NEMO coordinator for the Belize district said that it's important to have residents of the communities as partners.
The hurricane season is near, coming up very shortly in June, as we are all aware. So it's very important to train the people from the local community. These guys will assist the professional if and when there's a disaster. These guys know the particular areas where they're from.
The whole purpose of us training these community teams is to strengthen the national response system. So we work very closely with NEMO, and we're an auxiliary to the government of Belize when it comes to humanitarian issues. So this ongoing work in strengthening our partnership with NEMO, especially at the community level, because that's where the first response has to come from.
The 10 participants endured an intense 4-day training, acquiring various skills that would be needed in times of emergency.
What we did was these teams, we trained them in areas of medical, and then technical skills like knots, how to handle extractions from, say, hillsides or rivers or collapsed buildings or spaces. Teach them rappelling, swift water rescue. One part where we're teaching them every single kind of knot under the earth that you could think about. And of course they learn all the first aid, even how to give drips, how to prepare fractures for transportation, etc.
Out of the 10 participants, 4 were women. They told us why it's important to them to be a part of the emergency response team in their area.
Community need a lot, and others, people who know they can do it, can also take the training as well.
Well, especially in my community, we always have flooding during hurricane season, so it's good training, especially in times of flooding.
things where you never know, you get to know in the medical part. Like, say if somebody get trapped in or something, you know how to take it out, how to deal with it and different things. So it me really interested and good to learn about it.
The coordinators described the techniques as being very challenging, but these women said that they were excited to take on those challenges. Chanel Pook was also named top performer for the training.
Out there it may kind of rough because all hours you get up, rain come, you get beat, you catch by rain, you're in the water nearly all day for some time. In the dark, you don't even know you're there. They look for people, if they try help people out, but it's real nice and I'm glad how I do it because it's challenging, so I'm proud of myself for what I do.
It was challenging, very much challenging, because you're in nature, you never know what could happen, and they prepare your mind that strong. There's no fun and games out there, and the Bizarre team is a very, very, very good team. They're very professional and they always let you know it's someone's life you are saving. So we cannot play games out here. We need to stay to what you get the training on and prepare yourself like that. So for me, it was awesome. Wonderful experience.
I really like the training, even though I'm a female. I just love say drama and anything there. I just love it. Excitement, I love that too.
So what does it take to become a part of the community disaster response team?
Well, first I think you have to have a big heart. You have to be a community spirited person, right? Somebody who wants to help in time of disaster, if and when there's a disaster. And there's no specific qualification as long as you're physically in good condition. And I think that is checked by a doctor before you go on that course as well.
For Belize Now, I'm Miriam Longsworth.
NEMO is also about to embark on an educational campaign in schools as a way to get the message out on the importance of early preparation for the hurricane season.
We will be going from school to school and try to reaching out to the kids. In turn, we'll hope that the kids will share the information with friends and families. And what we do, we try to share information when it comes to what is NEMO, the role and responsibility of NEMO, what to do in time of disaster, and most importantly, we stress a lot on the family plan. We always tell people try to stock up on the tin food stuff. Your basic thing, you need to have batteries, flashlight, your important document, ensure that it's sealed properly in containers that water cannot enter into. It's very important to have the basic, like for example, NEMO always asks for at least to take your 3 days supplies. You might not be able to purchase everything in one time, right? But if you do it little by little, when the hurricane season is near, then you will have what you need to have.
In the upcoming months, we'll have more on the preparation by NEMO for the hurricane season. Stay tuned for more stories after the break.
True or false? You can vote in a referendum even if you don't register. False. You must be registered to be able to vote. If you want to vote in a referendum, register by March 10th, 2019.
Be informed. Visit our website or social media pages.
Noticing a lot of wildfires around recently? Well, the days are getting hotter and drier and the fire season is just around the corner. Last year, we learned how the Department of Environment and NEMO prepare for the season. Here's a look back on that story.
The dry season is here, which means warmer temperature and more outdoor fun. But that also increases the risk of fires, which can bring devastating effects to nature, property, and in worst case scenarios, life. Fortunately, Measures are being taken to reduce the risk of fires in Belize and to strengthen the response. One of these preventative measures is prescribed burning, which reduces the possibility and severity of wildfires. Forester Oscar Oyoa told us more.
The objective of these burns are to reduce fuel loads. There's too much fuel. The competition with pine is too high, and we are managing this area for pine, not for hardwoods, no? One, to remove fuel loads. Two, we want to enhance regeneration. We want young pines to come up. If the fuel is too thick, the seeds do not reach the soil. So we remove the fuel for germination, to promote germination. Three, for aesthetic values. Beautify the place, you know. And again, to remove threats. Sometimes we find people working in the forest, there's a lot of snakes. We don't want to kill all the snakes. They are very beneficial. But it cleans out the forest, you know, and that's the main objective of that.
Prescribed burning is the process of planning and applying fire to a predetermined area under specific environmental conditions, since wildfires can become very hard to control. It involves careful planning, consultation, and monitoring. According to Forest Officer Raoul Chun, it has definitely reduced the occurrence of wildfires and the efforts it takes to address them.
If you have wildfire coming in, it is more intense. A wildfire basically happens during the hottest part of the year or the hottest part of the day, and it is really hard to control. The thing is, wildfires basically are more costlier because then you have to mobilize physical resources, human resources.
When we look at mountain pirage, you know, pine is associated with fire. Our fire season begins the 15th of February to 15th of June. And we have to put mechanisms in place to protect the pine forests.
In addition to these efforts, training programs were held to strengthen the leadership of firefighters across the country. The training was spearheaded by Archibald McFarlane, a Belizean firefighter residing in the U.S. who founded the Virginia Emergency Service Assistance Program, VISA, for Belize. He told us more.
Being here this week, trying to get the officers leadership training and management training is a foundation for everything that we're about to start or to embark on. We want to make sure that they're aware that, you know, as firefighters, they have a job to do, and that job is to provide an excellent public service, you know, to the citizens and to those who travel into this country.
Chief of the National Fire Service mentioned that such programs are important to enhance the skills of firefighters as public servants.
Bear in mind that we are servants of the people. We are implied to serve our community, and we must take that to heart. And to be an effective servant of the people would require training, maintenance of the equipment that we have, you know, and we try to instill that.
Smith also told us about the efforts of the fire service to keep the public informed.
As per normal, the fire service is preparing pamphlets for distribution to sensitize and educate the community on how to reduce the likelihood of a fire occurring in their area and how to prevent their homes from burning when they are not at home if a brush fire should occur near their area.
Honorable Edmund Castro, Minister of NEMO and Transport, further explained ways in which the Belize Fire Service is being improved.
We are trying to train our fire personnel for the EMS, the emergency management, as first responders. In most cases, the fire department would reach there sometime before the ambulance. We want the ambulance to synchronize with the fire department. We want our people to be trained so as first responders that they could be there in the event of an accident, that they can stabilize a patient until the ambulance reach there. So there's a whole list of things that we are trying to bring to the fire department that will save lives and improve the country, save money basically.
And for Belizeans residing in areas that may be vulnerable to fire, Fire Chief Ted Smith shared some advice.
Let's say you live in an area where the outer perimeter of your land is not inhabited and it's grown up in high bush. then we would encourage you to cut that area and create a fire pass, so that if a wildfire would be coming into your area, it does not jump into your area. And at the same time, keep your land low, should in case, in your absence, hot ash or fire bands would fall in your area and ignite your fire. It will only burn at a smothering phase. Ignite your lawn, it will burn at a smothering phase and will not have much effect to your home.
While residents are advised to cut areas of high bush, the Forest Department continues to execute regular prescribed burnings to protect the pine and wildlife. They say you can't fight fire with fire, but in this case you can. For Belize Now, I am Janelle Rodriguez.
And that's it for this edition of Belize Now. If you want to provide feedback or send in your comments, please feel free to email us at info@pressoffice.gov.bz or visit our Facebook page and let us know what you think. We look forward to hearing from you. From all of us here, have a great week. Until next time.